Hello. We'll get started in a little bit. Right now, we can use this time to settle into our practice. Like an opening ritual, anything we might do, or anything we might think or feel. Something that allows us to step into this practice. Hi. Good, I'm using the Wild Unknown deck. And I'm going to do a 3-card spread. A past, present, and future spread. Okay. So here is the first card that came up for the past. Mother or Queen of sorts. This is the card for the present. Reversed 10 of Cups. And the future, 2 of Pentacles. Here's the 3 of them together. So let's take a few moments to set up for our meditation, and I'll hold these images here as you get yourself ready. So you could be seated, maybe you sit on something, maybe you sit up against something to help prop you. And as you come into the physical position of meditating, you might bring your eyes ahead to look at these cards. And then let's take a deep inhale and let out the breath as a sigh. We'll do a few rounds of this. Eventually, you'll close your eyes whenever it feels right. Big inhales. Sighing it out. We'll just take a moment here to sit, sitting tall. Noticing the weight of the body from the left to the right side. Let's notice our rib cage and shoulders and heart center. And see if you can visualize the triangle that exists in your body from shoulder to groin. Shoulder to the center of your seat, to your root. And we'll continue to breathe deeply in and out. Feel the expansion and growth with these inhales in your shoulder points. And notice the exhale as that awareness centers to the seat, the exact point between the left and right side of your seat. It's as if we're dropping an anchor right here. When you inhale that triangle, your torso expands up to the shoulders. Exhaling to the root. Just taking a few moments to fill and empty your own cup. From heart to root. Good. Notice the next inhale. Keep the breath in. Notice these shoulders. And then see if you can breathe in a little more. Notice the throat as you take that next breath in. Good, and then let it out. Airy out through the throat. Good, with your next inhale, send the awareness to the top of your head. And then as you exhale, center the awareness to your third eye. Good, and we'll focus right here for a bit in the very center of your forehead and the brow. Noticing the eye sockets. Noticing the jaw. Softening the entire facial muscles and head. And if that awareness to help soften moved the awareness away, center it back to the very center of your brow. And as we're right here on the third eye, reflect on all the moments that brought you here to this practice, to this day, to whatever you experienced this day. Think of all the insights you've gathered, all the perspectives you've sifted through. Honing in on your own unique sense of thought and perception and wisdom. embodying the Queen of Swords, one that recognizes the body and the heart space, but shines in the mental realm. And that wisdom and insight and mental power comes from honoring the body and heart and the experiences that we've gone through. Being tender and nurturing, but also keen and intentional. Trusting the intuition because it's got you as far as it has already. This is the Queen of Swords. This is a card that has come up a few times in our practice. And today it has come up to represent the past. So we are moving from this place into something else. Notice your hands wherever they are. And then begin to wiggle them, the fingers or maybe the wrists. Maybe some circles in the wrists, one direction. Circles in the wrists in the other direction. Good. And then rub your hands together. Good. Create a little bit of heat here, pressing into the hands. Good. More heat, a little faster. And then we'll bring the tips of the fingers to the third eye. And you might allow the rest of the hands to just come down on your cheeks and eyes and face. Maybe over the nose or mouth. I am not covering my mouth so you can hear me, but you can cover your mouth. Whatever feels right for you, just feel these fingertips coming to your forehead and press down a bit. Maybe even make some circles or little massages here. Centering. Good. And then we'll pause and just feel the hands on the face. And then slowly drag the finger pads away from the center to your temples. So very smooth, broad strokes outwards to the temples. Make a couple circles at the temples. Good, go back to center, broad stroke out to the temples, maybe some circles, maybe even through the hair. Back to center, broadening out. Just go at your own rhythm here in your own way. Just kind of opening up even more in the third eye. Just for a couple more breaths. And as you do this, you might begin to look up a little bit and we'll open through the throat, soften the jaw. Good. And then when you feel like your gaze and your neck's in a comfortable position, just pause here and bring the hands onto the floor now for stabilization outside of the hips. And maybe you have the fingertips and you spread the arms out a little bit to notice the shoulders and some space there. And we'll come into our breath where we noticed our shoulders, that triangle shape in our bodies. So feeling shoulder, shoulder, root in and out. Good. Big breath. With the inhale, notice the shoulders. Now this is the base of the triangle and the top of our head is the point. So notice just up here, shoulders, neck, and head. Good. And maybe you make little intuitive, gentle movements from side to side just to kind of loosen up a little bit in these neck muscles. So we're looking up, maybe opening and closing the mouth. Noticing all the angles that our head can move. all of these pivoting directions that are possible to us. Good, and then we'll come to what feels neutral in our neck and tip the chin towards the chest, bowing a bit. And then just take a moment to really embody this bow, this inward, downward drawing of the chin. Bowing with humility and respect to the lessons that we've learned. Getting through the lesson that the Queen of Swords teaches us isn't easy. Sometimes it's a little painful. And it's okay to kind of lean into that pain and defeat and just acknowledge what has been lost in order to allow you to move forward. Let's drop our shoulders down a little bit. Let's actually wrap our arms around. So we have one hand on one hip, one hand on the other. Right to left, left to right. Maybe hip, maybe waist, maybe rib cage, maybe shoulder. That's up to you. My body told me hips. I'm feeling low there. Maybe you feel like you need a little more nurturing up here. But the chin will stay down in our bow, our reverence, and we'll kind of lean our shoulders and our heart forward too. And maybe it might feel nice to kind of just rock from side to side a bit. And we'll come into this like self-nurturing pose and just be in it. Maybe like some circular little rocking, gentle, like you're in a bassinet again, like you're in the womb again. The Mother of Swords becomes her own mother. Good. And then we'll continue this coziness. Whenever you're ready, we'll lie down on our bellies. So if lying down directly on your belly is uncomfortable, you can lie on your side or maybe a child's pose. But we can turn one cheek to the side, or if you want, you can stack your hands and bring your forehead down. We'll just take a couple moments to really feel the pelvis in the center of our pubic bone down on the floor. And maybe kind of shift your hips from side to side to feel that. And you might acknowledge your legs a bit. Lift them one at a time. Maybe make circles with the ankles. Maybe curl the toes under and stretch through the heels and the bottom of the foot a bit. Just acknowledging the legs. We were seated for a bit, so they might want some attention. And yeah, noticing that pelvis again. You might shift from side to side, as I said. And when you feel rooted in your lower body, come into your chest. And notice those two shoulders again. And the choice as to what you do with your arms is yours. They might be down by your sides with the back of the hand on the ground, so the palms are up. This is what my body is telling me it wants. Sometimes, though, it wants me to bring my arms like this, like a T with bent elbows, palms facing down. Maybe yours says something different. And maybe you don't know exactly what it says right away. And so you kind of find it for a bit and figure it out. We'll just take a couple moments to lie in a surrendered type position on this floor, heart downward, and really feel those breaths in this space and any movement that comes up with the breaths. As we're laying here, let's bring to mind, if we can recall, the image of the Ten of Cups, the second card. 5 cups up top, 5 cups down below. They were all pouring into one another, rainbow colors. 10 representing the end of a cycle or completion. And cups representing emotional, watery sides of our lives. There is a sense of abundance and flow and balance within that flow with this card. It is acknowledging all of the emotions and recognizing that we all need all of them, that they all serve a purpose, and that we cannot attach to just one feeling, even if it is so nice. It is working through the anger and doubt and shame and grief and jealousy and temptation, guilt. It is working through all of that, and also having moments of excitement and serenity and liberation and confidence, curiosity, comfort. So I pulled this card reversed, and I don't normally work with reversals. So I am less keen as to what exactly it might mean, but the beauty of tarot is that it is and can be personal. I'll just tune into my own intuitions that I see from this card. When it is reversed, it looks pretty much the same. Those cups are still pouring into one another. There's still this back and forth feedback and understanding between all of the varieties of water that fill these cups, all the different types of water, of emotions. So I guess that's another way of not reading the reversal. But I just think that is the message this card wants to tell us today. is as we're in this present moment, this is the lesson we're learning, is how to evenly distribute this flow and let it be. There is no forcing. There is no forcing to feel a certain way. There's no forcing to avoid feeling a certain way. Notice your belly for a couple more breaths. Notice the arms. Notice the legs. And notice the tops of the feet. Press the tops of the feet into the floor ever so slightly, enough to engage the leg, and maybe even lift the knee off the floor ever so slightly. 2 points right here. We'll make another triangle in our body and press the center of our pelvis down into the floor. So full engagement from bottom to top of the legs. And notice the navel, draw it up and in towards the spine. And as you're ready, move those arms to come to Sphinx pose, shifting the elbows underneath the shoulders to lift up in the back, in the chest. Good. We'll continue to be engaged and present in this part, this low part of our body, as we are bending the back. Feeling both elbows and both shoulders. Noticing the space between the shoulder blades. Breathe deeply into the heart and out the mouth. Got another breath like that into the heart, out the mouth and throat. Good, and then one more. Feel that pelvis down. Breathe into the heart, out the throat. Good, lift the throat up with that exhale, sinking the heart down and coming back to the floor. And we will just press into a child's pose, shifting our hips to our heels and opening our knees a little bit. Rocking from side to side. Good, feel the center of your forehead, again, pressing down. Rooting down your wisdom. It's our past experiences that help us discern this current lesson we're learning with emotions. Good, and feel those 2 hands out in front of you. Press the fingertips down, lift up the elbows and palms and forehead, and just rock a little bit from side to side, waking up. And we'll come to a twisted child here. So up and over to the left. So just open up and stretch on the right side body, maybe moving the neck in a way that feels right. Maybe it's looking over more to the left, or maybe a little twist and peek under the right armpit. Good, one more deep breath here. And then back through center, make your way to the right when you're ready and take a few breaths over there. Good, notice the next breath. And walk it back to center and come to a seat when you're ready. Good. Let's swing our legs around. Ooh. We'll shake out a little bit, bend the knees a little bit. Good, and then let's come to a straddle position. Nothing too crazy though, nothing too wide. And then let's bring the meat of our seat out of the way. Bring those sit bones directly down. And the hands come down as well. Good. Feeling the weight of your body from the left to the right. Notice the bottom of the right foot and the ankle and heel. Noticing the right calf and shin and the knee. Noticing the right thigh and hip. And notice the bottom of the left foot and the ankle and heel and the left calf and shin, the knee, the thigh and hip and seat. Notice the right seat. Notice the left seat. Notice the right seat and torso and low back. Notice the left. Notice the right shoulder. Notice the left shoulder. Notice the right arm and hand. And notice the left arm and hand. Notice both hands down on the floor. And then slowly, as you inhale, lift it up and bring the arms out and up overhead. Good. Feel your next breath in. Exhale, palms together, knuckles of the thumb to the third eye. Pause and press here. Good. Trusting our intuition and sense of discernment. Trusting that whatever we feel is okay to feel. Good, breathe it in. Lift the thumbs and hands back up. As you exhale, left hand down, lean over to the left with that right arm. Good. Inhale back to center and swap the hands out. Right hand down, lean up and over to the right. Good. Inhale to center. Exhale to lean. And just notice the shift and flow of your movement in the upper body and how that influences the way you're connecting with the floor and what's going on in your lower body. Good, and we'll shift into the lesson of our third card as we continue this, which is the Two of Pentacles. Two being a card of balance. When we move from 1 to 2, we are doubling or multiplying, expanding. And there's a change that comes with that. So it's navigating that change. Good. Next, inhale. Whenever we come through center, we'll meet one another here. Good. And we'll take a breath in together. Exhale, hands to the heart now. Good. Coming right here to center. The number 2 could mean opposing forces, or the number 2 could mean mutually beneficial forces. It's how you work with it that really defines it. Feel the 2 hands at your heart and take a big breath in. Big breath out like a sigh, and we'll bend the knees to bring the feet on the floor and just kind of hug inwards a little bit, allowing our chest and heart to come onto our thighs and knees, and our arms can wrap around. So it's kind of like this self-nurturing pose that we did before. What helped us transition from the Queen of Swords to the Ten of Cups. We'll get a little bit of this going again as we transition to the Two of Pentacles. You can allow the head to just come down. And maybe you shift from side to side, from one side to the other. Tick tock, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we'll come onto our backs when you're ready. And you might keep these knees inward and continue to shift from side to side. Left to right, back to left, back to right. Maybe even like a ping pong ball back and forth. And that can kind of feel, or be how it feels sometimes, like this back and forth, up and down, riding the ebbs and flows as we move through life in this year, in this entire decade, in this entire millennia. Good. Keep the right knee hugged in. Extend the left leg long. If that's uncomfortable, you can bend the knee, bring the left sole of the foot to the floor. Notice this right hip and make any intuitive motions, maybe some circular hip motions, maybe straightening the knee and stretching out through the entire leg. Maybe like a half happy baby type thing. Whatever feels right. You know your hip. Good. As you're ready, we'll transition to a spinal twist. So drop this knee over to the left side. You might bend both knees so they can be stacked. You can drop the right shoulder down and bring the gaze over to the right. The Two of Pentacles is inevitable change. It's moving from the Ace, as if like the seeds are being planted in that card, the very beginning of this tangible thing that we're working with here with this Earth Pentacles suit. So maybe it's the body or the home that you live in, the environment that you're in, the work environment that you're in, the work itself that provides you a sense of structure, and anything that provides you structure, maybe school or some form of education, or nurturing roles that you might play for others that aren't necessarily paid work, but are still work. So these duties and commitments, this real, tangible stuff. We're moving from the beginning stages into the next step, which is just inevitable change when you add in another element, another player, not element, another player to this element, to this earth. So maybe this changes a physical location, or maybe this changes a dynamic that you're working with. We'll feel this twist for a few more breaths. And then whenever you're ready, you can release back to center. And we'll shift from side to side again. Left to right, to left to right, back and forth, back and forth. Keep the left knee in, extend that right leg. Make the movements on your left side that feel right. Whenever you're ready, come to your twist. Either with the one knee or both knees. The Two of Pentacles is on the horizon. The change is inevitable and it lies ahead. And we have the power to enact that change and to ease through it. The tools and lessons from the Queen of Swords and the Ten of Cups can help foster a smooth transition. Whether it be a physical change that we're working through in our bodies, in our homes, in the roles that we play in the earth that we live in. We are empowered. A few more breaths. Good, and release when you're ready. Come back to center. You might do an active bridge pose or something to kind of lift up the pelvis a bit, just to find a little bit of length here. And then as you're ready, shift the backs of both hips back onto the floor, bring the soles of the feet together, and open up the knees from side to side. And we can bring our hands somewhere here, maybe propped underneath our hips like a little bit of support, maybe on top of our hips, pressing down, maybe on the low belly, wherever feels right. And notice the heart too, and maybe the kind of shifting the shoulder blades together on the back, on the floor. Good, and we'll take a few moments here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Reclined bound ankle pose, also called reclined butterfly. And the image on this card was a butterfly with the two pentacles from wing to wing with an infinity sign in between them. The only constant is change. We'll give ourselves a few more breaths, like 5 or so. Good. The next breath we'll take together. In. Let it out. Good. Bring the knees together. Then roll onto your side. We'll pause here for a little bit. Whenever you feel ready, we'll set up for our legs up the wall. Now, I don't know your exact home situation. If you have a wall nearby, feel free to go to it. If you do not have a wall nearby, you can lift the legs up just in the center of your room. It's not necessarily the most relaxing way. So if you are able to find a wall or even a dresser or a door or something to just prop behind you to bring some support here. So get into this. I'll give you about a minute or so to set yourself up. We have plenty of time. I trust that whatever position you put your body in is comforting for you. We'll take a few moments to scan our bodies. I'm just going at your own way here with your breath, very intentional inhales and exhales, and intuitive body scans and awareness checks. Just softening wherever needs softened. Strengthening what might need strengthened. And maybe it's the same part of you that goes back and forth between soft and strong until you recognize that they can be one and the same. And we will center our awareness to the heart. Feel it at the front of your chest and at the back of your heart, the center of your upper back, as it connects with the floor. When you breathe into this space, just feel it throbbing and growing with the inhales and exhales. And you might invite the color green into your mind's eye. Good. Noticing the heart, noticing the backs of the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the hands. Begin to make movement in these hands again, in the fingers and wrists and palms. Good. And as you're ready, lift the arms up. So legs are up the wall and arms are also lifting up. And you feel them anchored at the backs of the shoulders down on the floor. You might lengthen through the neck just to feel long and strong there. And then we'll cross one arm over the other and just drop our arms down over our chest like we're giving ourselves a little hug. You might drop it over the face so they're covering your eyes. So what feels right for you? Covering the chest, the throat, the eyes. Good. And we'll just take a few more moments in this cross-body sensation. Good. Another breath together. Whenever you're ready, we'll shift into our final resting position, Shavasana. You might get away from the wall and now come directly on the floor. You might lie on your back, side, or belly. You might bring a prop underneath you or on top of you. Scan your body from side to side. And be aware of the parts of the body touching the floor. A sense of rootedness, grounding down into this floor. Being here now. Notice your feet. Begin to wiggle the toes. And move the ankles and heel. You might even lift up the feet a little bit, wake up the knees. Maybe the knees bend into your chest and you feel those hips flex. And you might incorporate the arms, make them move, wrap them around your knees. Maybe some shifting, more movement. Noticing the rib cage and the shoulders and the neck. Then we'll roll onto one of our sides, whatever your favorite side is, and pause and reflect. Taking the messages that came to us and stuck with us throughout practice. And bring yourself to a seat so we can close out with one another. Let's do one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. 1, 2 physical points here, connecting inwards, honoring the solar plexus and heart, our individual journey and sense of self, and our compassion with connecting to others. in our community. We'll take a big breath in and out together. And through the nose, feel both spaces expand. Out the mouth, big sigh. Bowing the chin down. Good. Thank you very much for sharing your evening with me. I hope you have a peaceful rest of your night and that you sleep super great.